match between the Kaynor Panthers and the Sheehan Titans. I want to thank our wonderful sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, and Mob Crush for making this season possible. My name's Kevin Navik-Dignan, and today I'm joined by David Haunch10. How you doing, Haunts?
I am doing pretty solid today, having a great day of Overwatch. And this week, we are started, as always, with Escort. Then we go to Control, Assault, and then Hybrid. If the scoreline is tied 2-2 after the 4 maps, we're going to go to a tiebreaker map on Escort. This week, the map order is Route 66, then Ilios, then Horizon Lunar Colony, then Kings Row, and if we go to tiebreaker, we're going to tie on Dorado.
Yeah, those Route 66, that's a map we haven't seen in this season so far, and I believe we have it again at week 7. So it's a good map. I like it a lot.
I definitely agree. Route 66 is usually the escort map of choice for most players when we go to a pick ban stage in the final stages of states and playoffs. And I'm really glad to see Route 66. There's a lot of nuance here on the first point, especially with such open sight lines. I definitely want to see perhaps maybe some snipers come out. How about you?
I definitely enjoy seeing some snipers here. And of course, like you were saying, there's a lot of nuances from both sides, right? The point of attacking. Do they run a Reaper? Do they try making Reaper go through the low grounds? Do they stay on the point and kind of like pirate ship their way through? Do they run a Hammond and try and just get on top of Garage and play that divey comp? And on defense, they have the option of going Bastion, Orisa on the Garage. They could run Torbjorn. They could, like, there's a lot of options, and we are seeing Capri-Sun on attack as Torbjorn.
Yeah, I mean, he might switch off of it, but I really like the 4 DPS comp coming out of the Kaynor Panthers today. Definitely, it's not something that you see often. Usually, we see the tank actually as Hammond or Wrecking Ball, but it looks like they're just going to pick Orisa, so they're allowed to just sit on top of the gas station here, play really safely.
Yeah, the 4 DPS comp is something that seems to be coming out a bit more just recently. I think there's just a lot of people that like to play aggressively, and you have so much firepower if you actually look over at the Panthers, right? You got Pharah just raining down rockets, you got Widow sniping, you got Soldier with Helix rockets, and just, of course, his AR, and then you have Sombra for all of those CCing needs.
Yeah, and I definitely like this adaptation from the Titans here. Seeing the Pharah shooting rockets right at their base, they swapped off of Kagazi swapped off of Hanzo and swapped to the Pharah to get that aerial maneuvering, and Kagazi actually taking out Eclipse in the air.
Yeah, Kagazi coming out quite strong there, and again, they're all just going to be grouping up in this situation. They want to be getting the point. Mr. McDouble managing to pick off Tree there, so the Mercy being shut down could be really important if they could find Kagazi.
Yeah, and with every quick fight, Andrew just doing some harassment on the back line here, but definitely with the Orisa kind of being shut down and everyone having to move back, it looks like the Titans are going to be able to take point 1 relatively free. They may contest here right at the end as it hits the gate, but it looks like they're going to do that.
Yeah, 2 meters coming off, 0.19 meters coming off, and we're going to get into this next fight very quickly here. Most of the Titans are going to be jumping onto the point, trying to stay grouped, going to be getting a lot of damage coming out. You hear the infrastructure coming out, and Eclipse is just going to be able to fly over them, raining it down. A huge EMP coming down, hitting 3 of them there. Capri-Sun does get hacked, isn't going to be able to bring up that shield, so we are going to see Brigida falling. Mr. Mage trying to find his way out there, but of course does fall as well, and the Panthers are just going to be able to clean it up after a huge EMP from Andrew.
Yeah, that 3-man EMP, and I think Andrew's been playing some really good Sombra here. He has some great priority focus on his hacks, hacking Reinhardt even before the EMP going off, making sure that that wall is down, and it looks like they're going to have it pretty well off here. Looks like they're going to come into this fight with basically 4 ultimates with Orisa and Soldier ult coming up, while the Titans are going to also basically have 4 ultimates, getting another hack on Mr. Mage, and fights going off.
Eclipse coming out there with the Justice. You hear it, then Kagazi proceeds to do it there. Eclipse managing to find 2 on Capri-Sun and Elephant Man's mech. Kagazi managing to find 1 in return. Oh, sorry, Eclipse. And we hear the Visor coming out as well. Lots of damage coming out. Eclipse managing to find pick after pick as the split. On one side, you have Eclipse shooting down rockets, and on the other, you have Jeff Woods with the Visor. Which one do you focus?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but now I really think that the Titans are going to have a bigger advantage coming on to this next attack because of the fact that they really only used 1 ultimate there, with so many people getting hacked and disrupted by Andrew. But with the EMP coming out of Andrew's side, we're definitely going to have to see what goes on in this fight. How many people does he get in that EMP overall?
Yeah, so the EMP is going to be a big thing about this, especially with the amount of ults on the Titans right now. And a 6-man EMP is going to be able to find a lot here. Capri-Sun trying to survive. Elephant Man and Sir Captain do also fall. Mr. Mage is going to go down, and they're just hacked, so they have no abilities to use to try and get out of this. You see King Gazi jumping off the air there, Tree getting knocked off, and that's just going to be another quick and easy fight for the Panthers.
Yeah, and it looks like there's only going to be one more attack here for the Titans, and I think there's a really good strength from coming out of Mr. McDouble on the side of the Panthers. You know, he swapped off of the Widowmaker onto the Ashe and has been able to get some really nice snipes throughout this map. But it looks like they're going to start fighting up onto this gas station. They have 4 ultimates, almost 5 ultimates. I definitely want to see them start using some of these early on. Mr. Mage going down before he even uses the Earth Shatter.
Yeah, he got hacked by Andrew and then proceeded to go down. We're going to see the sound barrier coming out along with that Diva Bomb. The Diva Bomb's not going to be able to find anybody. Rally coming out for Capri-Sun here. Going to be grouping up with the team, trying to get them up. Elephant Man gets the nano here, chasing down Jeff Woods, trying to deal with that soldier as quickly as he can, as they're going to be pushing the point here on the overtime. Andrew trying to find something. Jeff Woods does manage to survive from Elephant Man through the nano there and manages to get the visor out. So as long as he can find 1 or 2 picks here, the hack coming out, finding Tree, not absolutely huge, but getting that Ana is going to be important. Eclipse using a huge barrage there, managing to find 3. It's coming down to this. The Earth Shatter hits 2 here, but you still have a damage boosted Eclipse flying about along with Jeff Woods, and they're going to be able to defend this before they even get to that first point.
Yeah, and that air dominance from Eclipse showing off that entire fight, getting 2 great barrages throughout that entire attack from the defense on his side. Looks like they're really comfortable with this 4 DPS comp. I'm definitely happy to not see goats today so far, honestly, Navik.
Yeah. I mean, no goats makes me happy.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see if they're gonna pull off the same 4 DPS comp on attack. I definitely saw Nova, who is their tank from what I saw, start off on Hammond and then switch off into the Orisa. So I definitely think that he has some strong power being able to play that Hammond and diving onto the top of the gas station. But it looks like they're gonna still waiting for the hero selection, kind of interested to see what they're willing to pull off. I can definitely see Pirate Ship coming out, but it looks like I said, that 4 DPS comp with Nova on Hammond. I definitely kind of want to see a Tracer maybe perhaps on the Panthers lineup, because usually when we see 4 DPS, we usually see the Sombra and Tracer, just because of the fact that it helps split up the enemy team, you know. Oh, it looks like we have a disconnect. We're going to go to a quick pause here. Andrew, unfortunately, has left the game, but hopefully it's just a small technical issue, and we'll be able to get him back in game very quickly here.
Yeah, we'll get him back into game as quickly as we can, and then we'll proceed into this match. But like you were just saying, though, I completely agree, right? It's interesting to see them just running the Sombra instead of the 2 flankers to try and split up the aim. But Eclipse and Jeff Woods are doing that on their own.
Yeah, definitely. And with that aerial domination, I think that Kagazi has a good pick here on the Ashe, to able to hopefully take him down out of the air. I want to see a little bit more focus, because I know that Kagazi, he switched off into a Genji at some point, and there aren't many good ways to take the Pharah out of the sky here. I see just the Ana and the Ashe on their side, so hopefully they're expecting to see this Pharah coming out again off of the Panther side.
Yeah, there's definitely an option of that. And we are just getting notification here that Andrew's PC is having some more technical difficulties, so hopefully we'll be getting back into it as quickly as we can. But yeah, and you know, you were talking about goats and things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to hear your opinion on this. How do you feel Baptiste is going to change the game in the sense of goats specifically?
Well, talking to some of the 4K teams that I have been involved with as of late, they've been saying that Baptiste is going to have some really strong elements. He in goats, he definitely can replace Brig, is what I'm hearing, in the support side of the lineup. But I think that also, not in just goats, he has a really strong place in the 3 DPS or 4 DPS composition, because of the fact that, like, you know, in goats, his ultimate doesn't really support much besides like the little small Zarya bombs or the Ryan Fire Strike, or maybe even just like the Lucio auto attacks. So there's not much that Batiste can do in Goats with his ultimate, but I think that with the multi DPS comp, he has such a strong line ability to protect his backline, to enforce the extra damage, and I feel like his immortality field seems a little bit strong in my book.
Yeah, it's definitely a interesting decision for Blizzard to go with an immortality field, and I guess we'll see how it ends up working. But do we know if a Rhine can swing through Batiste's ult and it will ski
It
double?
is just for projectiles, from what I.
Just projectiles. Okay, that
Mhm.
makes it a bit better. I could see him working really well in Dive Goats with Monkey and Diva.
Yeah, I definitely agree because of the fact that the Winston bubble can protect the top, protect the immortality field in a way, as long as it gets placed almost near the center, basically.
Yeah.
So he honestly just a lot of strong elements, and especially his jump boots. I forget exactly the name of that
Oh, his
ability.
passive, his cybernetic legs.
Yeah, being able to get some really strong high ground, and being one of the first supports to be a hit scan support, which is really really strong in my book.
Yeah, and he'll definitely be fun to play. And maybe persuade some of those hit scan players that are so confident in their damage output to also try supporting when they're forced into those situations.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And honestly, with the immortality field, I feel like Zarya feels, and some of the Zarya nerfs, Zarya feels a lot weaker in my book going into this next patch. Honestly, with her alternate fire radius being nerfed significantly, and because of the fact that you can't really grav dragon anymore with the immortality field. The immortality uh machine, I guess it is, doesn't take damage from the Hanzo's dragon. So we'll definitely
Huh.
see. We'll
Yeah,
definitely see.
that counters a lot. Genji Blade still hurts it, yeah?
Genji Blade still hurts it. We still have Tire that still hurts it. Uh, I'm pretty sure Diva Bomb also hurts it, but I'm not entirely sure how that interaction goes. I'm pretty sure if as long as the immortality field is closer to the bomb, then the bomb dies first and then you die. But if you're closer to the bomb than the immortality field, you don't die first.
So if you've got a Bastille, you run towards the Diva Bomb, but
Yes.
stay in. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Also, I think it's
That's
really strong for the immortality field to be able to put it behind a corner and have your widow peek against an enemy widow, because in those scenarios you
yeah.
you win that widow exchange.
Widow can't die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, definitely allowed for that. Especially now that you mentioned that he's able to get onto high ground without anybody else's help as well. So Widow Duel's on Anubis, it's going to be heavily favored to the defense.
yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And he just has so much good positioning, so much good. Honestly, everything. His damage seems really strong with I believe it's a 45 clip on his main fire and a 10 grenades on his alternate fire. His heal seems really strong through his ultimate as well. I feel like he's such a well-rounded hero that it might. Honestly, he kind of airs towards like the Brig end of things, where he's really damage heavy, but also very support heavy as well.
Yeah, which seems to be something that Blizzard are enjoying doing in their characters even more and more, because I think they realize that people like playing DPS, but it's very difficult to force people to play other roles. Which it isn't necessarily true for myself. I love playing support and tank and things, but it is kind of a shame to some extent to see him almost feel forced to push it in that direction.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I want to see another DPS come out of the heroes next, just because I feel like a lot of the times when you take a look at the tank lineup, when you take a look at the support lineup, with heroes like Zen, with heroes um, like Zarya, there's so much damage that can come out of these tanks and supports that sometimes it feels weak to not have that extra utility on your team. Having a Discord orb while being able to output massive damage, and a 270 damage per second left click is nuts, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, tons of damage.
So it looks like we are getting Andrew's computer booted back up. As soon as he gets back in game, we will be going back into the game. But what else do you think about this new patch coming out? Also, have you seen the extra changes on top of that?
I've seen bits and pieces. I saw. Well, we spoke about last stream. We were talking about the no. Well, you mentioned the nerfs to Zarya and things, and we were just talking about how that's going to affect goats. And it's definitely interesting. They're definitely trying to force goats out without completely killing it, but trying to promote other strategies. But it's like I said, I feel like it's hard to force goats out without killing a few characters that are specifically designed for that composition, because it feels less like something is too overpowered and more that just the fundamental combination of those characters together is really strong.
Yeah, I definitely would agree, especially with the fact that like Zenyatta getting the 5% Discord damage nerf, but also getting extra damage on his left click. Jonak is a very happy player right now. But it looks like we are finally getting back into the game. Like we said earlier, we have the Kaynor Tech Panthers on the 4 DPS comp. They're just trying to push people off of the top of this gas station with the Pharaoh, with the Hammond right now. And Andrew's just going into the back, stealthing, and hopefully trying to get a hack on Mr. Mage here, I think.
Yeah, and we're going to see, like we were talking about at the start of this map set, we would see a Hammond at some point trying to get on top of that garage and knocking everybody off with his slam down. And we did see that having some effect there, completely tearing apart the Titans organization there. They all had to rotate in different ways and just try to avoid taking as much damage as they could in the air. Eclipse finding Sir Captain here, so Lucio's going to be down. We hear Elephant Man getting hacked, so no Diva Mech for now. A lot of damage coming out, and they're just slowly collapsing on them, taking hold of that high ground. Jeff Woods is running back and forth whenever he needs to reload, coming back. He's going to rotate all the way around back to his team here, and they're just pushing as a unit and slowly pushing together. They only need to make it to the first point as well.
Yeah, a good job from Nova getting a multi-man knockup to start off the fight, and now since the team is so staggered, it's going to be a very tough challenge for them to hold at this gate. I definitely want to point out the Kaynor Tech. Oh, the solo ultimate coming out of Eclipse to take out Sir Captain. Looks like Higazi and Mr. Major are going to try to hold this point as much as possible.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to do it for a little bit. Elephant Man is going to get that, but a huge EMP is going to come out from, I believe that, yeah, that was Andrew there, onto Mr. Mage and Elephant Man, dealing with both of the tanks there. Kagazi does find a pick on Mr. McDouble, but I just feel like it's too late here, especially with the Hammond bombs coming out. Unless Sir Captain can jet set radio all the way around, which he isn't going to be able to. That is going to be map bomb going towards the Kaynor Tech Panthers.
Yeah, and the Kaynor Tech Panthers, I want to point out, they have some incredible target focus. In that first fight on attack, once they hacked the Diva, I saw her health bar go from 100 to 0 in literally half a second. It was quite insane.
Yeah, I mean, when there's no defense matrix on the Diva and you're screaming at your team to kill her, then, you know, at this level, you'd hope that they would kill her.
Yeah, and definitely Eclipse getting this Pharah highlight. Definitely some great ultimates from him throughout this entire match. And honestly, I want to point out Arkham Knight here for out of everything that he's done, he was damage boosting a lot throughout that entire game, knowing the fact that he can rely on his teammates for their damage output, and because of that, able to do a lot of 26 offensive assists during that entire match. Impressive mercy play, and I believe he didn't even die the entire set.
Yeah, that's again just. The coordination always going to be impressive, right? Because these guys play together so much that they should be able to trust in each other, and it just goes to show.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And honestly, some big stars on the Kaynor Tech Panthers side. We have Andrew here, who is now, I believe, on a tier 3 team, and I believe Eclipse is as well. They're doing some fantastic job representing the high school scene in the competitive Overwatch scene. And now we are going to Ilios now. Looks like we're just about to enter the game here. What are your thoughts on Ilios, Navik?
Ilios is, I think, personally my favorite control point map just because of the shenanigans that can happen. And there's a lot of environmentals, especially with Well here, right? We're going to see some Roadhogs, some Orissas. You see different composition coming out on Ilios quite a bit. And just going back for a second there to talk a little bit about Andrew, yeah, you are correct. He is on a T3 team, and he also peaked at 4.4k SR, which is incredibly high.
Yeah, we honestly have some pretty major stars in the EGF season. even including Haru on the Notre Dame Green Knights, who's also on a tier 3 team, I believe. They've a lot of players, including even Stevek on the Ludlow Falcons. They've all peaked in high, like mid 4,000s, which is really impressive, honestly, that they can put the time and have so much talent here. And I definitely want to see what they do going on to the collegiate scene, because I feel like, with the collegiate scene blossoming so strongly, they deserve it. They definitely are going to fight for these scholarships as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, and like they should be, because I mean, let's be honest here. A scholarship is nothing to laugh at either, right? It's a big help in life for if you want to go to somewhere, and it's just useful to get
Yeah,
towards things.
college is way too expensive, coming from a person who's still paying off his college loans to this day, honestly. But
Yeah,
it looks
so
like we're kind of going goats on the side of the Titans, and looks like the Panthers are pulling out an attack Torbjorn here.
yeah, I mean, attack Torbjorn, it could be. I mean, after Torbjorn got his rework, I think he's less of a joke character. He's still fairly niche, but I feel like he works a lot better, especially for taking out flankers now with his old Molten Core just being on the E.
Yeah, and it looks like Arkham Knight trying to get a good flank here. And he's gonna get taken out for it, and Eclipse he put down his turret, got knocked out instantly, and they're gonna keep going on this team fight.
Yeah, so going into this team fight, we actually look at it right now. The Titans are in the lead a little bit. They did lose Kagazi, but even with that, they're going to be able to put out enough damage that they should be winning on these Orisa versus Orisa shields. But as I say that, we see the rest of the Panthers here coming around the corner. They get their hook onto Nova, which if they can drop Nova here, that would be really, really useful to them. But they're not going to be able to. As I was talking about, right, there's the Torbjorn run along. Nova does die, but we see... I believe, was that both Orisas who fell? Yeah, that was both Orisas who fell. But Nova got the supercharger off, and when you're in a 5v5, but the enemy team still has their Orisa supercharger and you don't, they're going to be putting out a lot more damage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A lot of environmental kills coming out there. I believe that Arkham Knight was able to boop a few into the pit, while Mr. Mage pulled Nova into the pit, which was why that both of the Orisas went down. They're going to start this fight off with the Diva Bomb, but Tree already taking out Eclipse so fast.
Yeah, no, so finding Eclipse there is going to be very, very important for this next fight. Going into any fight as a 5v6 is really useful, but Kagazi falling, not so great. But here comes the counter supercharger here. They're putting out a lot of damage. We need to see the Panthers looking to try and deal with that in their backline, or at least backing up around the corner. We see Andrew jumping over that wall. He tried to flip back over, realizing his decision may not have been the best, but he wasn't going to be able to find it, as I believe that's Jeff Woods there with the visor on the opposite side of the point here, just trying to push it out, flank it around, make sure they miss their shields a little bit and get some more damage on the flanking side.
Ooh, and Sir Captain falling into the well. He almost made it out, but he could not hold his wall ride long enough, and so many people getting knocked down into the well. Eclipse, honestly, it looks like one of the major benefits for running Torbjorn in this composition is to be able to get the extra fire speed on Torbjorn and just being able to shoot out extra shots into the enemy Orisa wall, and that's been able to give them the advantage of taking out the enemy Orisa wall first. And a lot of the times that's how you win these exchanges, getting out the damage earlier on.
Yeah, and there comes the Graviton Surge here, along with all of them getting antied. Fortunately, they did have a Lucio. The Sound Barrier comes out, the Molten Core comes out as well, dealing a lot of damage, forcing them into a weird position because they can't just push in like they plan to after hitting that Graviton. And another anti actually coming out from this side, on this side, with Mr. McDouble hitting it, and Eclipse just clearing up the fight there. That was a really well-placed Molten Core.
Yeah, that Molten Core splitting up the entire team fight, making sure that, the people that were approaching onto the wall, and getting a double kill off of the Diva Bomb to secure the map.
Yeah, well, not the map, but this point is going to go towards the Panthers.
Yeah, you're right. This point, you were correct there. Sorry about that.
No, that's absolutely fine.
But yeah, like you said, that Molten Core, being able to kind of split the attacking side as they were kind of charging in to take advantage of the Graviton that was dropped by Kagazi there. And honestly, team coordination and knowing how to split up the enemy team is something that I feel like all teams can learn from the Kaynor Tech Panthers. Knowing that, their target focus is so great, they know how to split up the enemy team so well, And I believe that's one of the major ways that you win these team fights, because you're basically taking very small micro, 6v3 fights, 6v4 fights, as long as you just split up 2 or 3 people off the enemy team.
Yeah, and separating teams and things, it's why May's so strong in GOAT, right? And Eclipse finding Kagazi immediately off, so that's going to be a 5v4, sorry, a 6v5 immediately going into this next fight at the moment. Asleep being hit onto Elephant Man as well from across the map. So you see a lot of work coming out from the Panthers at the moment. They're finding picks, they're hitting things. We see Jeff Woods now off of the Soldier onto the Tracer, going to be looking for that backline, going to be looking to pulse bomb Tree, going to be looking to pulse bomb Kagazi, and of course Sir Captain, all being dealt with by that pulse bomb in a lot of situations here. Eclipse finding Kagazi again. I'd like to see Kagazi switching off at the moment.
Yeah, winning the Widow 1v1 2 times in a row is definitely going to be pretty tough for Kagazi, and it looks like Kaynor Tech, they've pushed up, try to force the Titans into spawn, while Eclipse is just going to kind of sit in this top corner and see what picks that he can get, possibly.
Yeah, definitely here, as they are going to be able to get the point flipping over to them on the first bit here. So that's extremely useful for them, because obviously they just want to be capping that, getting that early as they can. Nova on the Winston is definitely interesting. I think we've seen a lot. I don't think we've seen much of Nova on Winston, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, we haven't, but Eclipse is definitely suppressing Kagazi down in the base at this point, and it's pretty tough for him. I definitely want to see some more dive tanks coming out of the side of the Titans in order to deal with Eclipse. Eclipse is just running rampant, he's untouched in most of these fights, and realistically they need to be able to just put more pressure on him in the spots that he's in.
Yeah, and at the moment, we just need to see the Titans regrouping as a 6. Kagazi has switched off of the Widowmaker now, so trying to deal with Eclipse, because at the moment, when it was coming down to that Widow duel, Eclipse was just winning every single fight. He was one step ahead in so many situations.
Yeah, and it looks like Eclipse is going to pop his vision here, but I love the adaptation from the Titans, able to switch off to the Winston, and Winston diving up there with the pressure from Tree, able to take out Eclipse. But it's going to be a 2-for-2 fight so far, 3-for-2 now.
It's definitely difficult in a lot of cases with that situation. We see the D.Va Bomb coming out, just trying to slow them down here at 70% as well. So again, every little second is counting here in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and with almost 80% means that they're only going to be able to get one more fight here, basically. It looks like they're going to group up here right around the temple area. Mr. Mage gets slept, and the Graviton gets dropped.
Yeah, the Graviton does get dropped here, along with the Zenyatta. Oh, Transcendence. There we go. The Transcendence are coming out here at the moment, and the Titans are making a stand on this point. 96% here. It's coming very, very close. We hear the Genji Blade being popped out by Kagazi. He's going to chase after the backline here, managing to find Eclipse here. He's going to be jumping after, trying to deal with Jeff Woods as well, but Jeff Woods managing to find it here. But we do see the Titans flipping the point over to them, now putting the Panthers on attack.
Yeah, and great use of ultimates from Kagazi and the support line of the Titans, able to kind of stall the point out as much as possible with all of the support ultimates, and now Kagazi switching off to the Hanzo.
Yeah, Kagazi switching over to the Hanzo is an interesting one. I'm not too sure about that one.
Yeah, and with him losing the early sniper duels, I wonder how the Hanzo instead of the Widow v Widow is gonna fare for him. Mr. Mage diving in, popping the Primal Rage here.
Yeah, the Primal Rage coming out here. We see him jumping into the backline, just trying to separate them. The D.Va Bomb coming out. It goes high. It is able to find Elephant Man here. Another Transcendence coming out from Sir Captain, but they all get antied immediately after Transcendence, and we're just going to see the Panthers coming in, picking them off one by one. There goes Sir Captain, Kagazi, Tree, Mr. Mage is going to fall, followed by Capri Sun, and they're going to flip the point over before Elephant Man can make it back in time.
Yeah, and I think that we definitely have to highlight Eclipse here. He was able to get almost 1 or 2 picks every single team fight, making sure that all the fights were basically 5v6 on for the side of the Panthers. Being able to take that 6v5 team fight is definitely really strong, and now Eclipse actually getting a Torbjorn highlight here.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a Torbjorn highlight. Let's have a look at this. Look at him going off, right? And this is what I was talking about, right? You can flank so well with Torbjorn now in a lot of situations, especially when they're not paying attention. And being damage boosted by Orisa on top of it all just makes him such a good character.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. And speaking of the damage boost, I want to go back to the thought of Batiste here. What do you think about having the Batiste? Well, this was a situation brought up to me early on, but having a Mercy damage boost with an Orisa damage boost with Ana Nano, and then also now the Batiste damage boost through the wall. There's gonna be so much damage coming out from some teams nowadays.
Yeah, but you're investing so much into it for one fight, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And if somebody hits a transcendence or things like that, then you've wasted so much because you've invested so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like again it's just the micro meta that is Overwatch in general. I don't actually know how useful that would be. I feel like it's a little bit overkill.
Yeah. So now we are going to our assault map of the day of Horizon Lunar Colony. Definitely kind of on my lower tier of assault maps. I'm not too much of a fan of like the tires and all of that inside point one. And a lot of the times, even in Overwatch League, it's actually even stalled onto point one. It's hard to even capture both of the points.
Yeah, I definitely would have agreed with you prior to the remake or the slight rework they did, but I feel like the rework they did improved it a lot.
That's definitely fair. I think there are definitely a lot of good ways to attack onto that first point because of the fact that you can hug that right hallway going up, and either you go into space or you kind of fall up into that hallway, and then you kind of either just drop down straight afterwards, going down the stairs, or you continue on that high ground and dropping down onto the point. With that high ground advantage, there's so many rotations that you can potentially do now on the Horizon first point. But I definitely think that Goats is usually the dominant meta on this map, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that one as well. Goats is definitely the way to go currently. For
Yeah.
better or worse.
Yeah, especially since you really do need the Rhine wall being able to kind of go into these, tuck in around these corners to even approach these hallways initially. Definitely want to see what the two teams pull out. But I definitely know that there's a lot of fair that comes out of this map. Also, because there's so much open space. You can kind of just sit on top of one of the tires and free fire. You can fly around all of this extra open area above the point, behind that rock wall. So I definitely could also even see a multi DPS comp coming out of the Kaynor Panthers because they seem so comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, as a Pharah main, I definitely would agree in the sense that I'd say Lunar Colony is probably my top 3 maps for playing Pharah. I think there is just so much open space and flanking that you can do with those ultimates that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one. But nevertheless, we aren't seeing a Pharah. In fact, we're seeing double Sombra.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the double Sombra is a good choice, especially on the defense side, knowing that they have picked Sombra on some of the past few maps in order to provide those EMPs, provide that utility, and with the extra hacking of health packs. There's so many health packs on this map that are positioned so well for the attack and defensive side.
Yeah, it feels a bit more like domination when you have 2 different Sombras on the enemy team fighting over health packs here. But they're both going to be looking to probably try and hack that lower ground health pack, the Mega Pack. But as I say that, we actually see Eclipse just running straight onto point, trying to do a bit of recon for his team, trying to bait them all down so he can reappear onto their backline like he's going to here, and he's going to be able to find Sir Captain chasing after Tree. If he manages to find Tree, that's going to be both their supports dealt with by the Sombra, forcing them off the point fairly quickly here. This looks like it might be just a one and done in this first little push for the for point A.
Yeah, and honestly, Kaynor just brute forcing their way in. No slowdown. They just ran straight up that hallway, not even going up to the stairs onto the high ground. They were so prepared and ready because it seemed like the Titans were not too coordinated and ready for such a fast attack. Yeah, and Nova already getting a pick onto Capri Sun there means that they might even get a very quick attack onto the second point. Arkham Knight able to take out Elephant Man, and Kagazi switching off onto this Pharaoh.
Yeah, no, and we see Eclipse here popping the MP, hitting Tree, managing to actually not find Tree. Tree gets through the hack here, but Kagazi and Sir Captain do both fall. We see the Graviton Surge coming out, managing to find Tree. Elephant Man jumping into it there just as it was ending, but it was enough time for them to deal with the mech. And again, this might just be a very quick push and done. So Captain jumping onto the point, trying to layer. We see the Earth Shadow coming down. It doesn't find Mr. Mage. Kagazi on the Mei now. We saw a lot of Kagazi on Mei the first time, or I believe Season 2. So coming back to his roots a little bit here, but the pin actually hits tree whilst it was looking for Kagazi. A bit unfortunate, but they are just going to be able to win these fights and manage it to finish the map with 6 minutes and 9 seconds time banked. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, and definitely Kaynor showing why they were our national winners last year and even the state champions for the state of Connecticut last year. You know, showing that, you know, although they definitely do have the numbers to back it up with two players in, you know, high 4,000s in terms of SR, they also have such good team coordination. And, you know, I assume Andrew and Eclipse are able to take their tier 3 knowledge and bring to their team as they're, you know, setting up for these attacks, knowing how to coordinate and making really good team fight calls, honestly.
Yeah, they are definitely making good team fight calls. We saw Eclipse on that Sombra making great work of it as well by waiting until the rest of his team pushed in. And I mean, they read the Titans like a book, right? They were like, well, as soon as this happens, they're all going to jump in and their supports will stay on the high ground and we'll just pick off the supports.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like they are more than prepared for all of these compositions, even kind of, you know, having some fun picks here and there every once in a while. But it looks like they're definitely going to just run goats on this defense, it looks like.
Yeah, and again, it's not something unviable. I mean, goats is goats, right? You can run goats anywhere and it will do well.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Looks like Sir Captain might be hovering the Reaper. I think it's a pretty good pick in order for them to kind of deal with the expected Diva pick and the expected Winston pick. I think Winston is such a solid pick on this map because, you know, although this is definitely his home, he has such great mobility since there's such open space on this map.
I mean, like you said, it's his home, and they definitely designed it around for Winston being good. But getting straight into this round now, a lot of push coming out. We're going to see him holding onto the high ground, trying dealing out some damage, try and get Eclipse to build as much ult as he can. Winston jumping down there, sorry, Nova jumping down there on the Winston. And they're all just going to try and contest him at the top of the staircase. So we've got to see something happening on the side of the Titans here. We see Kagazi looking like he's going to try and run around, try and get for a bit of a flank here. But if the rest of his team gets picked off before that happens, then he's not going to be of much use. Andrew does get hacked, but I don't know if that slows down the Panthers in any way.
Yeah, and I think some really solid rotations from Nova there, being able to drop on the low ground and provide that pressure, knowing that he can just jump back up and attack from the side of that stairwell. You know, that's a very standard Winston defense because he's able to kind of just put pressure on all 6 people with his Tesla cannon as they walk up these stairs. And, you know, great knowledge of positioning from Nova and from all of the players on the Panther side.
Yeah, they're definitely making good work of their knowledge in a lot of these situations, and it's paying out for them, as you can see from them winning fight after fight.
Yeah, and it looks like they may make the rotation. I kind of want to see the rotation from the Titan side, knowing that Winston is going to be playing on the top of these stairs. To just walk out into space. You know, it's there. It's an available option for them, but it looks like they're just going to take this fight here and lose here on the stairs, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that fight. Eclipse hit a huge Graviton surge, and then Monkey went ham.
Yeah, I definitely would agree on that. But I want to see them make this rotation out into space. It means that they can just force the attack. You know, they don't have to play the stairs. They can go up the stairs, basically relatively safely, as long as they walk out into space and then just walk into this top room. And it looks like Andrew's going to play a very aggressive position here. Yeah, I definitely want to see the Titans take a little bit, you know, make this pick onto Andrew. They see him up there, obviously, and there's definitely not much that he can do unless he uses the investment onto his boost, and then they're able to kind of make that rotation for free. It looks like they're actually going to push up onto this left side here.
Yeah, we see the bomb coming out from Andrew there, and he actually aimed it for the corner edge, so it would hit and fall. The Death Boston coming out from Sir Captain. They're not going to be able to find much here, but Elephant Man finding Nova and Mr. McDouble there is going to be pretty important coming into this next fight. If they're able to clear it up, they could definitely take this point. Kagazi getting an EMP onto Andrew there, so there's not going to be any boosters, not going to be any defense matrix. That's just the Gremlin Diva trying to find something to do here. But Eclipse is putting in so much work.
Yeah, with that Zarya left click damage, like I said earlier, Eclipse being able to melt a lot of the enemy team. I feel like a lot of the early ultimates, especially even like the Reaper Death Blossom, you felt a little wasted. The Panthers had not fully rotated onto the point yet, and it really felt like they could have held those ultimates for a few seconds longer, waited for the Panthers to fully commit onto that defense on the point. But, they found an attack route that works best for them. Walking up this left side definitely was the play for them, even though they lost Tree really early.
Yeah, even though they lost Tree really early, we're going to hear another Graviton coming out there from, I believe that was Eclipse again. And they're just going to be able to clear up this fight. Even with Mr. Mage finding Mr. McDouble here, they're going to have so much damage just being pushed out of. We do see Kagazi in the background, right? But he's not going to be able to do anything, even if he tries to clear this up. Next fight, Monkey's just going to go bananas with that ultimate. So, yeah.
Definitely tough. And I want to point out that although we don't really see Nova on this Winston too terribly often, I think that his bubble placements have been so fantastic. He knows how to position, where to be for every single one of these team fights as they go into the last fight here.
Yeah, they're going to force them off the point. They're going to use Andrew's ult. They're not going to care at that ult economy right now, right? Because all they know is that they're staggered, and if they just use an ult to pick one off or two off, they're just going to be able to win purely off of that. And like I'm saying now, ending the overtime, that is going to be map 2 going towards the Panthers. Or real map 3 yet?
That was map 3.
Oh, that was map 3.
Yeah, Kaynor Tech definitely showing their strengths here. And Nova as Winston, as I pointed out earlier, he's been doing phenomenally for the Panthers. And being able to position top of these stairs, this was such a great play, being able to attack them on the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out so well. And like I was saying here, the Monkey just went absolutely bananas, managing to get pick after pick from that Graviton. And it's just worked so well.
Yeah. And I honestly would... there's such good players here on the Kaynor Tech Panthers. I definitely want to say that this would be a great map for players to review, honestly. VOD review this map. Look at how the Kaynor Tech Panthers made their rotations. Look at how they were focusing their the target priorities, because I feel like they played this map to a T.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to be going on to our 4th map here of the day, Kings Row. We've actually had a really good map pool for this week with Route 66 and Kings Row on the same week, in my opinion. So much open space here on Kings Row. Definitely want to probably going to see the sniper v sniper duel again from Kagazi and Eclipse, and hopefully Kagazi can put a little bit more pressure onto the Panthers on this map.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's just got to be able to deal with the iron wall of sniping at the moment that is Eclipse. He's really just eclipsing that I don't know where I was going to try and go with that pun, because Kagazi has nothing to do in relation to the sun, but Eclipse is being rather oppressive with the sniping.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. But going on to Kings Row, there's so much different variations of high ground that you can take from the top of the movie theaters, being able to kind of rotate all over the place. We even saw like that very classic LA Gladiators play where they just roll through the Alderworth building and kind of go into the back and rotate onto that high ground. So I definitely even think that is a viable strategy for these guys, knowing that Kaynor is probably going to play pretty safe and onto this backside high ground or behind these buildings.
Yeah, I definitely do think it would be a safe bet to presume that in a lot of cases as well. So let's see what they come up with.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I also think that with Hammond being on the table for both of these teams, being able to have that extra speed and even like rotate around this giant golden statue could provide a lot of pressure. It looks like Titans are going to be hovering some interesting picks, but we do see the Panthers on defense, so it looks like they're going to go 3-2-1 with Eclipse on this Sombra here again. Hopefully we'll see Tree on this Sombra as well to kind of counter the amount of hacks that are going out. Oh, looks like they're switching to a 2-2-2 comp with a Torbjorn now on the defense side, and Jeff Wood switching off to a Moira. That's not something that we see too often.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot, and I mean a lot of Sombra in these last couple matches here, which is something, again, like you were just saying, we don't see Sombra that often, so to see it being played almost every single game in the set has been an absolute joy.
Yeah, definitely. Providing that utility in the hacks and the EMPs is really strong. Kagazi and crew just rolling out. I think there's going to be a small disadvantage with all the late hero switches that the Panthers made, but Jeff Woods getting a pick onto Mr. Mage incredibly early.
Yeah, and that pick's gonna show how easy it is to turn a fight, even when you're a little bit behind here. Finding that early pick onto Kagazi here, let them just roll through the team and completely clear it up, not even letting them get a tick.
Yeah, and Jeff Woods pulling out his Doomfist. He pulled it out earlier on the Ilios maps. So, you know, being able to get 2 kills there, he's showing his stuff as Doomfist.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that he is one of the better Doomfists in the league at the moment. He's one of the best DPS players in the league, to be honest, there. And that's going to be a huge Earth Shadow. Managed to find Kagazi, Mr. Mage, Capri-Sun, and Sir Captain, all along with Elephant Man's mech dying. There we go. And they're just going to be able to clear through the fight.
Yeah, and I definitely would agree with Jeff Woods being a pretty solid DPS here in the entire EGF league, but I definitely will say that, you know, the tanks do a good job of enabling him on these maps. Andrew popping his Transcendence there. They're going to go for another fight here right at the gate.
Yeah, and again, these fights are just so one-sided at the moment. They're just not being able to find any ounce of territory in these, right? You just see the Panthers being so dominating in these situations. If you think, what do the Titans need to do?
Yeah, I definitely think that although, you know, we definitely don't see, you know, the classic staggers and stuff from the Titan side, but they definitely need to learn how to, you know, when they get split, how to regroup in some of these situations, because they definitely do get split up, you know, not as a full 6, you know, in like a stagger kind of way, but in small rotations where, you know, some of them are inside a building while some of them aren't. Some of them are pushed around a corner a little bit ahead of time before their supports are able to catch up. You know, very small, minor, I would say microplay basically here coming out of the Titan side, and they definitely need to focus on that, while Mr. McDouble kind of being a bit of a battle mercy right now.
Yeah, a bit of a battle mercy coming out here as we hear the Kaynor coming out from Tree. Just asking what's up, you know, kind of sneaking about. And Tree's got to be paying some attention here, right? Because he's got to be communicating with his team what's going on, where they're seeing things. And if that's not happening... Oh, Eclipse does spot Tree there, though. The hacker forcing the hacker out in this situation. Kagazi getting hacked here. The EMP coming out, managing to find Tree and Mr. Mage. So there can't be a reverse EMP coming out from Tree, because Tree did, in fact, get hit by the EMP and fell very, very quickly here. Capri-Sun popping the Coalescence, trying to just keep a lot of healing up, get some of the damage for the shield out. The Meteor Strike coming out from Jeff Woods. Going to be looking for somebody, probably Capri-Sun, but no, actually going for Elephant Man there. Interesting choice from a Doomfist to just solo ult that Roadhog, but we see the Dragons coming out from Mr. Mage here. Do manage to find Alchem Knights. Jeff Woods has also fallen here, so this is an opportunity for the Titans to find something. An EMP coming out, hitting Mr. McDouble and Eclipse, but Nova goes away unscathed from the hacking.
Yeah, and Eclipse being able to clean up that team fight. That was a very extended team fight, and I think Kaynor did a really good job of knowing how to, you know, put pressure on 1 or 2 players to make sure that the team fight got extended. And now they're only going to be able to have one last fight here, and it looks like the Titans are going to be pretty staggered, and they're not even going to be able to get 1 tick on this first point.
Yeah, no, they are not going to be able to here. With 3 seconds left onto the point, they're going to have to try and find something here, but I don't even think... Oh, wait, no, Mr. Mage is going to be able to get on the point with the Tracer. I heard a Tracer zip-zabbity zooping about, but I wasn't entirely sure where it was. Might be just enough time bought for the rest of the team to catch up here, but it is going to come down to this fight here. Jeff Woods managed to find Capri-Sun. They're just going to be able to close in through here. It's down to Kagazi a little bit here. Tree trying all he can, all of his might, but we are going to hear the Meteor Strike coming out from Jeff Woods any second now, I presume, just to secure it, but he doesn't even need to, as that's going to be the first round. Not even a check or a tick coming out.
Yeah, honestly, Navik, I want to praise you a little bit here with the different sounds and stuff you've been providing today with the zip zap zoop from the Tracer. But you know, honestly, a good attempt on the Tracer to kind of back cap that. I definitely could have wanted to see that a little bit earlier. You know, being able to, since the Kaynor Tech Panthers were so focused, you know, in front of this gate, they should have been able to, you know, take advantage, try to go for something like a C9. And they, you know, they almost even got almost a tick there with that Tracer play. and being able to just pull the Panthers back in order for them to gain more ground here in front of the bus, being able to just group up a little bit more on this early half of the attack point. But now we're going to see the Titans on defense, and it looks like they're going to go kind of goats, but with the Sombra and a Hammond also.
So we're going to see
Yeah.
Is that people usually replace the first letter of whatever hero they switch out, right?
Is it Shotes in this case because of the Hammond?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, well, we'll say this is Shotes.
This is Shotes.
So they are cutting the Lucio, though, which is, I would say, an integral part of GOATs. That movement speed to just force everybody in. And the Zarya also being cut out here. I feel like those are arguably the two most important parts of GOATs.
Yeah, and they're losing a lot of CC here, honestly, because of it. I kind of honestly wanted to see them pull off something like, a little bit more cheesy just to get some extra time here, maybe like a Bastion or something. But it looks like Andrew is going to pull out the Doomfist instantly, with Jeff Woods getting some great target focus onto Mr. Mage, taking him out instantly, and Eclipse finding the counterpart. Looks like they're going to roll onto this point really quickly.
Yeah, all they need to do is get that first check, like you were saying here, and if they can manage to clear up this fight anymore, then this is going to be map 4 going towards them very, very quickly. And yes, I'm going to repeat myself, this is going to be map 4 going to them very, very quickly.
Yeah. Able to get that first tick really very quickly, like you said. Kaynor Tech Panthers taking this series 4-0. And like I said earlier, I think there are a lot to learn from the play here of Kaynor Tech. Obviously, they ran a very offense-style play on this map, which, isn't very classic or meta of them, but they're very coordinated. They're definitely one of the teams to study here, honestly. They're the team to beat, with them being the last champions. Enemy teams, do your studying. This VOD is up. They're here, and they're definitely ready to try to fight for their title again this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not going out without a fight. And with all of that, I'd like to thank you I'd like to thank you all for tuning into the East Region of Season 3 of EGFH, with, of course, the Kaynor Tech Panthers taking the victory. You can follow us at Official EGF on Twitter and Twitch for updates and announcements. I'd once again like to thank our wonderful sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, and Mob Crush for making this season possible. I've been Cavan Navik Dignan, and you can find me on Twitter at NavikCasts.
I am David Hans Chen. You can find me on most social media platforms at Hans. I'm also streaming lately, so feel free to catch me there.
And I look forward to seeing you all in a few more hours where we will be having our Alaskan region. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.